Se preparó, se puso linda, se amiga llama. Matt, put that in the clip. We're going to play that.
The niche is where you really find community. We can literally combine the two and bring these passions together while also creating an incredible community of coffee-loving, soccer-loving people. Sharing that win, sipping that coffee, or getting that inspiration from your coffee kit. And you're becoming part of this wide network of people that love to do the same thing. Our way of getting into more hands will take a large budget so that we do it at an accelerated pace in a timeline where soccer is about to literally boom in this country. So just like the other 10s you see on the wall and my number 5 jersey,
yeah. Cafe.
Cafe number 10.
Cafe. Let's go, baby. This is another episode of the Athletes and Assets podcast. I'm your host, Noah Lack, and I bring on your favorite athletes to chat about a business topic. Today, we got Melissa Ortiz, former Olympian and professional soccer player with the Colombian women's national team, native of West Palm Beach, Florida, but is now a analyst, soccer analyst who is on TNT, MLS, Fox. Every show that you watch, Melissa's there, she's everywhere, but is also the co-founder of Kickoff Coffee. Melissa, let's skip the small talk, all right? Look, I need you to, and this is a tough one, but I need you to give me your favorite city in Colombia and why I should visit there.
Ooh, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm just going to have to say Cartagena right now. Close to my heart. Yeah, I got married in Cartagena in 2022, and it has so much history. It has so much color, vibrance, great food, great beaches outside of Cartagena, great people, great dancing. So I love me some Cartagena. What's a
typical Colombian dance you can give us a high level about? Is it the there's there in Latin America, there's the salsa, bachata. What's your go-to?
I think the great thing about Colombia is that we love all music, and there's a really great intertwine, of course, with the African influence. So whether it's salsa choque or salsa, merengue, bachata, reggaeton. But it's funny. There's this one Mbapale where you're just kind of dancing. You do this a lot at parties and celebrations. But my favorite right now, just because reggaeton is on fire, and I love me some Karol G, who was one of the most famous reggaeton artists and native of Medellin, Colombia. So I vibe outside reggaeton I think all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a big Ozuna guy.
Oh,
I don't know if you're
love
familiar with Ozuna.
Yeah.
Se preparó, se puso linda, se amiga llama. Matt, put that in the clip. We're going to play that.
Good. Yo,
that's my jam.
My husband's Puerto Rican, so our reggaeton vibes are nonstop. They're endless. And we could talk about Puerto Rican reggaeton artists or even salsa artists to Colombia. And I feel like Puerto Rico and Colombia have such great music and so much talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to get back to, I've been to Puerto Rico, have not been to Colombia. So that's on the bucket list. But Melissa, most let's dive into it. Most coaches or most trainers, I don't know if they would advise players to be drinking coffee before they play or using it as fuel. Were you one of those players that needed a cup of joe before you hit the pitch?
I don't want to say right before I hit the pitch. No. But I did have my morning coffees for sure, even on game days. Now, when I was playing in big stadiums or say during a World Cup or an Olympics, inside of the locker room, there was always a big either pot, or thing ready of coffee. And whether it was some of the players having a little bit of sips on it or whether it was the coaching staff all really chugging it, coffee was always involved within the sport already without even me looking for it.
It's funny though, because it's soccer is such a cardio intensive sport. You want to make sure obviously you want to make sure you have you're full of energy, but I feel there's the electrolytes and stuff that, and I'd hate to play devil's advocate to jump from the beginning, but I don't know if there's that many electrolytes in coffee. You know what I mean? But
Well, thank God for technology and packaging, because you could put electrolytes if you want in your coffee, right?
yeah.
And, like, I get it. Coffee might not be the most hydrating, right? But you can also always supplement if you are looking to drink coffee before you go play sport or whatever. And right now in my retired life, do I drink coffee before I go work out sometimes? Yes, absolutely. Because I know it's going to give me a little kick. And at the end of the day, I love it. I love the coffee. I also do think it depends on what kind of coffee that you're drinking, and make sure that it's a very high specialty grade type of coffee so that it's not giving you any long-term, effects or messes up your stomach. A lot of people have side effects from coffee because of the acidity, but also you question what kind of coffee they are continuously drinking day in and day out. So that's why it's super, super, super imperative to make sure that you are drinking top quality coffee if you're an everyday coffee drinker.
Yeah, absolutely. And when did you realize that you wanted to start a coffee company?
So the idea wasn't mine. I jumped on board on this incredible ride. The idea actually was my brother's idea, and it was during 2020. So we had this pandemic baby and this idea, and my brother, who is someone that is so full of creative ideas, where I'm usually like, yeah, okay, let's let it marinate, on this one, when he said it, and it was July 2020, I was like, wow. I literally paused. Matrix went through my head, and it's literally my two passions. We're a Kickoff coffee company. We are the bridge between specialty coffee and the love of the game of soccer. And when he was just, putting these ideas together, I paused and I was like, wow. And I literally said, quote unquote, I'm in. He didn't invite me. He didn't, he wasn't saying, hey, Melly, come be part of Kickoff Coffee. Because we didn't even have a name yet. Yeah. I was like, I'm in. So it was 2020 that it started. And by 2021, February, March, we officially launched. So within those, 6-ish months, we learned about coffee, which was, the importation, even the branding, how to package, what are the rules and regulations, what's the market look like? Like, there's so many things, obviously, that when you're an entrepreneur, you have to learn what you're creating and how to create it and how to execute it. There's one thing of having an idea. There's another thing of actually executing what you want to do. So it all happened within 2020 and 2021. And here we are in 2024, a few years later. And this baby is still there, kicking, with Kickoff Coffee. It's grown a bit, and it's just so much potential. And we're still baby steps. We're still in startup. But we could talk more about that and, what the market looks like and how the feedback we've gotten, I think, is what really just keeps us pushing us forward to keep on, grinding, no pun on words, with our coffee beans.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go really deep here, I mean, there is the Buffalo Bills and jumping on tables with the tables that are on fire. There is baseball and eating sunflower seeds during the game. And then you guys have decided that, like, the culture of soccer can go with coffee. Can you talk about, again, like this discernment, bridging the two? You could have just branded the coffee as for fitness lovers, which is, that overlaps with soccer, but it's like a broader thing, right? So and obviously you played soccer, but can you talk about, like, the decision to really brand it with the sport you played? Like, why did you feel like you need to tie it together?
Yeah. The niche is where you really find community. And through my, I guess, job or life, when I stopped playing soccer in 2017, 2018, and I moved to New York City, I was already intertwined, obviously, in soccer because of my playing career, but I wanted to get into broadcasting and I wanted to get into the media industry, specifically soccer. Through my time, and right now my 5 years in New York City, I realized, and not just New York City, across the country and globally, the soccer community is something that is so incredibly special. Tight-knit. You can love and hate. You can hate each other, but you could share something so similar together, and that's through the similarities of loving the game, talking about the game, enjoying a beer at a bar, and then even enjoying a coffee together. So where the aha moment really came together is if you're watching the Premier League, if you're watching La Liga, if you're watching the top European leagues, which is one of the most watched sports in the United States, you're watching it at peak hours in the morning. So if you're on the West Coast, you're waking up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning to catch those Premier League games or La Liga games or French League games, etc. WSL, women's soccer is also on the rise. If you're on the East Coast like I am, I would form a line at the biggest Liverpool bar here in New York City at 7 a.m. so that I could get into the bar, so that I could have a crap cup of coffee, but have an incredible time with other Liverpool fans. Okay? And then
I'm sorry, the New York just came out of you like crazy right there.
And I'm not even
7 a.m., cup of coffee, Liverpool. Sorry.
Cup of coffee, my man. Get out of the way. And
I'm walking here. Yeah.
And so once you have a cup of coffee or two, then you transition into, a beer or a Guinness at the bar. And so already that whole notion of drinking coffee in the early morning and watching a game existed. That relationship is already done. Whether you're at a bar or you're at home in the comfort of your own couch of your house, there was already organic photos being posted on social media of a mug, coffee, and the television, in the background, and a hashtag that could have been my PL morning, my Premier League morning. And this was already organic content and authentic content being put out there. So that was like our aha, like, wow, this relationship already exists. This bridge is there, almost there. We need to be the bridge to bring it together. And the two passions of loving coffee, whether at whatever time of your day, to loving soccer every day, all day. Because soccer is the biggest sport in this world. And there's leagues all over the world, both men and women. And it was like in our calling to be like, we can literally combine the two and bring these passions together while also creating an incredible community of coffee-loving, soccer-loving people.
So when you talk to your fellow friends in the soccer community and you told them, look, I want to make coffee for you, what do your customers want in this coffee that maybe a Starbucks or a Phil's or, a traditional coffee brand not necessarily gives them? Like what do your customers want? What do they want in the beginning?
I think what everybody wants, community. Community is so important for all of us. And in building this community, it's what you're going to offer, right? Like, hey, what's the upside of becoming, let's just say, a Kickoff coffee subscriber or drinking your coffee? And what you're doing is you're sharing a similar moment of kicking off your day, say if you have it in the morning, or sharing that win, sipping that coffee, or getting that inspiration from your coffee kick. And you're becoming part of this wide network of people that love to do the same thing, but then also see a sense of them in the bag. So for instance, one of our coffees is called the Playmaker, and it's our Colombian coffee line. And with the Playmaker, what we do with our bags is we tell a story with our bag, and the illustrations on the bag itself have the Playmaker, who is like the number 10, is going to be giving the assist, but can also make goals. So what we do with our coffee and our storytelling is like, hey, go out there and be the playmaker of your day. We want a sense of inspiration, and we want you, no matter what your gender is, no matter who you are, to feel that sense of inspiration through that coffee. So to best answer your question, yes, of course it's community, but at the end of the day, they are coffee consumers, and we need to be selling and serving top quality coffee, which is essentially what we do.
Very curious to how you learned about manufacturing and getting accessing the harvest of the coffee beans. Like, where did you go to source this? Did you go back to Colombia or where do you go to source the coffee beans?
So this would definitely be my brother Christian, one of my co-founders. This is definitely his area expertise. So what we learned is we first wanted to pilot what it would be like to create a coffee bag around soccer. So we weren't going to import, bags or tons of green coffee. What we wanted to do is first pilot it. So that's exactly what we did. We found our local roaster. We said, hey, if we bring the bag, can we resell your beans that you have so that we can test the market? So once we tested the market, that's when we were like, wow, okay, this definitely has potential. Let's go out and find how to increase our profit margins, but also how do we import coffee? So my brother Christian did that area where he would either go through a third-party importer that deals with fair trade or organic farms. And then we also have made relationships with actual farms themselves, whether it be in Colombia, whether it be in Peru. So we have coffees from in a lot of places all over the world, even for our blends. And so it just came about like as you grow and you learn how to swim, we just learned how to import coffee, and they arrive green beans, so they're green. And so we have these sacks of coffee. That's when we bring it to the roaster little by little, because we are still small batch roasting, which is better for the freshness and the quality of the coffee that we are delivering. And so the green bean coffee is what we bring to the roaster. The roaster then roasts it to our roasting style and what we want, whether it's a light roast, a medium roast, a dark roast, etc.
Have you gone to Colombia at any point and checked on the ingredients? Like, have you ever gone there and said to one of these locations?
For our coffee that we serve? No.
Okay.
I haven't had to. And obviously during the pandemic too, that's when we got the coffee from Colombia. So we never have gone to actually physically visit that location ourselves, but we have people that we know that have and that do.
Okay.
And
so
then,
you sent out the scout team. You send the scout team to go make sure.
Like having a sports team, right? Like you have your own scouting players. It's something similar where you don't really have to be on the ground doing it. You work with a large team that will do that for you to ensure that what you're buying is top quality, but also in better looking out for the farm, because you also want to make sure that the standards are high from where the coffee is being produced at that farm or from that region.
Yeah, you don't want to come there and see these guys messing around on the job, just harvesting bad beans. I don't know what a bad.
Maybe they're playing soccer. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what a bad bean looks like, but like I wouldn't. Yeah, I would be a little alarmed if I went to my farm and all of a sudden they're playing soccer with. I'm not saying that happened, but no, that's really cool. And because we always see the end product, but we don't know what happens. All the logistical stuff that happens before we actually take a sip. It's a whole thing. It's a whole process, and especially with CPG and something like coffee. Are you ever worried during a season where it's like a bad harvest? Does that have an effect on your business and how you guys think about distribution of your coffee, or is that never really an issue these days?
As of right now, I want to say no, because we're still we're still so niche and we're still so small. Whereas, if you're thinking about a massive coffee company, they're definitely worried. And also because if you look for however many years down the line, and this could be something very long term, global warming is a serious thing. And that also affects the weather, and also the weather and the temperatures up in the mountains where a lot of the coffee region producing areas are located in. And so in the long term, it could have some effects, yes, and it's all over the internet. But as of right here, right now, no. But like everything becomes more inflated, and that definitely has. The coffee industry has definitely become more inflated year and year more. But hey, like we sell a commodity, and one of the biggest commodities in the world. And I think, by us blending, no pun intended, one of the biggest commodities in the world with also the biggest sport in the world, I think we could seriously make some golazos, that's for sure.
Muchos golazos, por favor. So now we get to the fun stuff, right?
Okay.
Like the marketing. of the company, right? Obviously, I expect to see you I expect a lot to see at coffee pop-up shops at soccer events. How do you think about, marketing for this kind of stuff is everything, right? I just had a conversation with former Ravens running back Justin Forsett, who runs Hustle Clean. It is a body wipe hygiene company, and a big way he got on the map was he got on Shark Tank.
Love it.
But right, because it sort of feels like some I could be seeing you on Shark Tank in the near future potentially, especially as someone might have told me that they're looking for some capital. I don't know if I can say that publicly, but might maybe looking for some capital. So like that's not a bad place to go. How do you think about, aside from your brand and your social media exposure, giving the product more exposure?
I said in the beginning, we are based off community, and soccer is community. And I think, just apart from the exposure that I could give to the brand or, what social media could do for this brand, I think it's what the community would like to do for this brand. And we're people first, that's for sure. And just like soccer is. And I think it's going back to the old days. It's like word of mouth, right? Well, how do we kind of modernize that word of mouth? And, you've seen it in companies doing it before. Is it via affiliate programs? Is it some type of incentivizing the consumer or client or buyer itself? But I think our way of really expanding and getting into more hands will take a large budget so that we do it at an accelerated pace in a timeline where soccer is about to literally boom in this country. We have Copa America, we have FIFA Club World Cup here, we have Messi, of course, here with Inter Miami, and then we have the 2026 FIFA World Cup here on home soil in the United States. And after that, there's a bid already for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup to be hosted here in Mexico. So this continent in these next 2 to 3 years is a massive boom for soccer fans and for the soccer community. So if we can really focus in on garnering and honing in on that community through our coffee and bringing people together through, like you said, pop-ups or experiences where people can come together and gather, that's really going to be key. And if you're not at experiences or events, how can we bring people together at their homes through our coffee and through different types of communications through us? So we have a lot on our plate, that's for sure. But we definitely need to raise money and to make that possible in such a fast pace so that by 2026 and 2027, we're ready to go full on counterattack.
I think the timing of this is genius. I think the biggest question that a lot of investors ask is why now? Soccer is about to become, like you said, one of the fastest growing sports in America, particularly because of the World Cup and all these events being hosted. I think you were right on the mouth of the mouth of the river of explosion with an interest in soccer. And so, man, I applaud you for, it's a little luck, it's a little timing, but it's also just a sense of you knowing that it's going to grow and, you're going to position yourself right where you need to be. I'm speaking that into existence.
Let's go. Let's manifest this.
Hey, show off the merch. Are you wearing the shirt right now?
I am. This is our Kickoff Coffee logo. And then it's the back. Yeah, so the back. So just like the other 10s you see on the wall and my number 5 jersey, we got
Cafe.
Cafe number 10.
Cafe.
Yeah. That's what I say. You got to be the playmaker of your own day, So that's one of our coffee bags. We also have one. It's called Match Day. It's like thinking, hey, this is your match day. This is your day. You go all out and you get those wins. We have different bags that create its own story and try to inspire these coffee drinkers / soccer lovers.
Do you have anything? Do you have anything on your desk there? In terms of the coffee, any bags, or you got something you could?
These 2 bags right here.
Can we do some show and tell really quick?
Yeah. So this is our Match Day. This is a single origin Peruvian coffee. The illustration is I love the most because say zoom in right here. It's a little girl being led into the stadium by, say, a father figure or an uncle or older brother, just having that type of inspiration via someone older and also the other gender. And then you obviously have all the fans, and the whole thing is the bag itself on the back, it tells a story. And I could kind of just sum it. Before the sound of the opening whistle and all the glory that awaits, it's these morning rituals that get you ready and in your zone. Let's go. Come on, vamos. Kickoff Match Day Blend sets you up with a perfect pass to a fresh start through our top quality artisan roasted cup of coffee. Wherever and whatever your match day is, be ready for Kickoff, because every day is your match day. So that's fun. Yeah.
That's like some slam poetry type of
I
stuff.
know, right?
You could go to Broadway.
Up with these things, I don't know, but got our creative juices flowing, and this is our Impact USA. Obviously influenced by United States soccer. This astronaut right here is actually with the number 9 jersey for Mia Hamm. Mia Hamm is the most iconic female footballer globally, but also who made waves in leading the path for United States women's soccer. The 4 stars represent 4 times the U.S. women's national team won the World Cup. And then this is from the depiction of what the U.S. men's vintage old kit from their World Cup was taken from. That's what they would wear. So I forgot to leave out one very important thing about my whole coffee business, which is definitely
please fill us in.
Yeah, and it's the most important because when I mentioned community, we donate 10% of our coffee profits to soccer foundations around the world that use soccer as a tool for social development and social justice. So I brought it up because with this bag, each bag has its own social development organization or nonprofit that it links back to. So while you're enjoying or sipping your cup of coffee, you're also giving back to kids or people in need, even refugees that have used soccer as a way to get out of their lives, their issues, and have set them up for hopefully success.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sipping for a cause. I love it. And wow, we really appreciate that. Melissa, to end here, what is one thing you wish you knew earlier on as an entrepreneur that they didn't tell you in the manual?
One thing I wish I would have known that they didn't tell me in the manual would be patience. That's for sure. And I think just patience in general, anything, of course, post-career playing. I think as athletes, we are so used to being good at what we do, because we practice for a long time since we were kids how to be that soccer player, how to be that basketball player. But for all those years, we weren't exactly practicing how to run a business or how to be a broadcaster. We weren't. And it wasn't until that time where we decided, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play my sport anymore. Now I'm going to focus this next phase of my life on that path, on this thing, on this business or that career. And so right now, I think what I've needed the most over the past 2 years is patience, because timing is always perfect. And I've realized that even to get to where I am in the broadcasting world, it's taken a lot of time, and it's taken a lot of wins, and it's taken a lot of losses. And even in the business side of things, there's going to be a lot of wins. There's definitely going to be a lot of losses. And we just need patience as people and as entrepreneurs to finally get through these moments and get to the time where you look back and you're like, that's really what I needed.
Amazing. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. This has been another great episode with Melissa Ortiz, Olympian former professional football player in the U.S. for the Colombian women's national soccer team, broadcaster, entrepreneur, coffee drinker,
Cheers.
All of the above. Cheers to that. Dale, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.